Hello, this has been the ultimate back and forth in my brain about whether I want to make this video or not. First of all, I thought no, then I thought maybe it's a little short, and I've just decided to make it. But this is the ultimate felt cute, might delete later video, because I'm not sure if I do want to make this or not. So I'm just putting that out there at the beginning, because what I want to talk about today is middle of the road books. You know, we all have those books that are 1-star rant fests. For me, it's Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon. There are so many wonderful 5-star books. I mean, Golden Fool by Robin Hobb, Warrior Prophet, Pillars of the Earth, those are my top 3 books from last year. They would be 5-star books, definitely. But what do we do with the books, and how do we negotiate conversations around books that are in the middle of the pack? They're the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star works. How do we navigate that conversation? And there's a few reasons that I was trepidatious to make this video. The first one is I don't largely steer towards booktube as booktube content. I much prefer to talk about books in my own inane, stupid way. I also very much don't want to seem like I'm on my high horse here, because when I say we do this, what I really mean is I do this. I'm trying to work out how I can better articulate my own opinions about books, and when I receive opinions from other people, how can I gestate those in an appropriate way? But also, and you can probably tell by this point that this video doesn't have much of a through line. This is just me spilling my thoughts out to you. Right, so let's talk about it. And first of all, let me give you a few examples personally, what I mean by middle of the road books. And again, if you love these books, that's great. If you hate these books, that's great. These are just middle of the pack for me. Let's talk about Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb, the climax of the Live Ship Traders trilogy, book 6 in the Realm of the Elderlings galaxy. I quite like this book, but for me it was a bit of a deflation. I don't think Hobb stuck the landing as well as she could have. I feel like I kind of knew where the plot was going, and so I was just turning the pages, waiting for the big climactic moment at the end. So it was good, but it wasn't everything I was hoping for. Another example might be Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. Now, I've made so many jokes about Sun Eater, and I probably should stop because no one finds them funny. I'm not even sure I find them funny anymore. But I was a bit deflated by my experience with Empire of Silence. But although I make all these jokes about Empire of Silence, I don't think it was a bad book. And actually, next month I'm reading Howling Dark, so that's coming out soon. But I actually thought there was a lot of merit to Empire of Silence, and it was only my own deflation and my own hype maybe creating more of a sour experience than I was initially expecting, but I still thought the book was fine. It was good. A lot of Stephen King books are middle of the pack. Let me give you some examples. What's the handcuff one? Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game is pretty good. Blaze is pretty good. Honestly, Salem's Lot is pretty good. I would never recommend them initially as where you should start with Stephen King. For me, they are, you got through his best 20, and now these are some you might want to consider. Yes, I know that's controversial in regards to Salem's Lot, but I like them. And these are the books I kind of want to talk about, because even when I'm talking about them now, I feel like I'm framing it with such negative language and then having to sort of dig a hole by going, no, but I liked them, I liked them. When we repeat the mantra, but I liked it, but I liked it, but I liked it, are we actually entrenching that negative response? Is it better just to give our opinion once and let that lie? Probably. So I guess my first question, if we're going to try and give some structure to this utter ramble, when you talk about books that you didn't quite love to pieces, but also didn't fall utterly flat for you, do you find that you're sort of digging a hole as you talk about them? Do you find that you're getting your point across clearly? Or do you feel like you are sort of moving that slider in a binary way, like or dislike? Do you find it easy to talk about these books, to kind of have that nuance? Because I'm not sure I always do. When you're listening to other people's opinions as well, do we intrinsically, when we hear other people's opinions, want to kind of pigeonhole them into good or bad and make this false binary? Because I think sometimes I do, and I think it's something I need to get better at. And I guess my next question in this regard for you is about purchasing books and choosing to spend time with a book that has been reviewed generally as pretty okay. Because there are so many books that are instant 5 stars for all our friends, so of course we go out and we buy it and we enjoy it, probably, hopefully. But if the general consensus of a book is that it's great, or maybe the author has done better stuff, or it's pretty okay, you might like it, you know, your mileage may vary. I guess I'm curious about your experience of spending money and time on a work that has been generally reviewed or regarded as adequate to good. Are you willing to put money or time into that endeavor when the reputation of that text seems to be middling? Listen, I don't want to sound particularly damning here if you choose not to spend money and time on books that are 2, 3, 4 stars, because time is precious and money is precious. And like, especially in the sci-fi fantasy community, if I or someone else is recommending something to you, I'm not recommending a 4-hour audiobook, generally speaking. These things are 20+ hours, and that's at the charitable end. Like, if you're going to recommend Malazan Book of the Fallen to somebody, you are asking them to go on a 200+ hour adventure. And we have to be careful with that. So I'm trying to find a way to phrase this question that's not, do you only read stuff that people think of as 5-star reads? Because most of us would kind of have a hesitation about that. We'd want to go, no, we don't. Of course, we forge our own path. But the reality is, time and money are precious commodities, and of course we want to back the horse that will probably win the race. I think that's totally fair. And this kind of segues in, this dovetails quite nicely into this discussion about why booktubers are reading the same books as one another. Well, partly it's because these things are like 300 hours long, and you do want to spend your time on something that you will find enjoyable. Like, listen, we would all like to be the person who is continually unearthing hidden gems, but the truth is, for every hidden gem, there's 5 bricks. and when we have so little of these commodities, time and money, we want to spend those precious resources sensibly. So I guess if you're looking up reviews of books, and these books are generally perceived as 2, 3, 4 stars, is that enough to disincentivize you from buying that product? Because a 4-star is still supposed to be really good, right? That's what that number is supposed to mean, really good. But ultimately, the 4 is still not a 5, is it? And there are so many precious 5s all over the place. So how do we navigate that conversation? And I guess if I'm trying to open up a conversation here, the third and final question I have for you are star ratings in general. And I wanted to leave this till the tail ends because I actually think it's the least important, and I don't want to seem to be besmirching anybody who uses star ratings. The reason I don't is because I'm a fence sitter and I hate putting an empirical stamp on things and then having to bear that weight. It's not really about people who use star ratings, but I do wonder about them sometimes and to what extent they serve a function or whether they get in the way. Case in point, I used to subscribe to this Xbox magazine. It was called Xbox World 360. And this was actually one of the things that got me into writing and reading, is I used to send letters off. And I always got the letter of the month because no one else was sending letters to this magazine in hindsight. But what Xbox World 360, there's a point to this. What Xbox World 360 used to do is they used to not only review a video game and give it a rating out of 5, they would give it a number out of 100. Which in hindsight is bananas to me. This game is 69 out of 100. This game is 72 out of 100. How can you put a stamp like that on something that is ultimately subjective? And I guess this is what I'm getting at too. With star ratings, I feel like everyone has a different paradigm about what a star rating means. I was actually talking about this on a podcast with Preacher and Tom Orange and Joanna and Noel. And I'll link that down below, because we have a broad range of opinions in that conversation about the utility of star ratings and what the function of a star rating is. And it's really fascinating because for some people, a star rating is how well did the book pull off what it was trying to do. And for other people, the star rating is how much did I enjoy the book. And both of those are totally fair, but we don't necessarily know, unless we know the reviewer very well, what the star rating means. But there's an issue here too, right? If we are watching a reviewer religiously, that's fine, and we get what they mean when they talk about a book. But if we're just tuning into random booktuber XYZ, and they say Operation Flippin' Bounce House is a 3-star, does that mean enjoyment or does that mean quality? Because the two things do not necessarily, and perhaps rarely, align. So I guess as I come towards the tail end of this video, I'm just trying to draw a few threads out for myself. And how I can navigate this topic better, but I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts about the questions that I posed. I guess for me, when I want to talk about books, I want to get better at talking about them, not in terms of how good they are, but who they are good for. And that's a very different question. I want to stop just saying, although I probably will, so don't hold me to this, I want to try and get a bit better at not just saying this book is wonderful, full stop, and everyone should read it. I want to get a little bit better about saying this book would be good for this person. This book would not be good for you, which I think is a much more reasonable and respectful thing to say. And it's not something I always do. I also want to stop digging holes when I talk about books that I had a mixed reaction to, because I think that makes the situation worse. This was a problem, but I really liked it. This was a problem, but I really liked it. I think that doesn't do what I think it's doing. I think it's doing the opposite. And I also want to get a bit better, I guess, at not hedging my critiques because someone else might love the book to pieces, or someone else might think that the book is foul. I want to be a bit more forthright and say this was my issue, full stop. Of course I'd love to listen to responses, but I feel like sometimes I couch my language a little bit, trying to not hurt feelings or salve egos. And I think I could be a bit better at that too. This is very peaceful and serene at the top of this hill. Do you know, I think I will post this. We'll find out. I mean, you'll know based on whether you're watching this or not, but I'm glad I had this conversation with you, camera, if nothing else. It's actually been lovely to verbalize this conversation, to vocalize this conversation at the top of this hill on a Sunday evening, on the first warm day of Tokyo of the year. And yeah, I'll leave you there. I don't want to belabor the point so much, but thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.